Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tilt the Whistle podcast. This is the first episode of a new little project we're going to try under the. I can't find my fingers. The state of play banner. There's the one. I got my little logo behind me. I'm very proud of that. My technical skills on the computer. I mean, it's top class. My name's Alfie Reeves. I'm joined with my co-host Harry Cleaver. Harry, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. The budget didn't stretch to me getting a symbol behind me. I'm clearly just not superior enough in the Till the Whistle podcast. But no,
He
I'm
hasn't got
happy
the
to be here.
logo.
I don't get a logo anymore,
You do get
but
a
I'm
logo.
happy to be here. It's a great week of sports. It's a great year of sports going into 2025, and I mean we're gonna get a chance to touch on some big news just from the last first 3 days of the year.
Yeah, well, last year was, I mean, it's a spectacle. A lot went on. We've got a lot of on state of play. We've got a lot of wrapped things coming out recently. I mean, if you care about politics, and you can go read the one by Joe Samuels, if you really want to read it. I
If you
mean,
have
yeah,
to,
he's
I
a lovely
guess.
guy, but yeah, and it's a great article. But man, politics really. Right here, we are all about sports. This is our little fun place to talk about sports without the watching eyes of Joe Samuels over us. He's a very strict man and wouldn't let us do it on the state of play banner. Just till the whistle presented by is the
Yeah,
line we go with, not the state of play podcast. That might be a thing in the future that we'll see what they want to do. If they want to copy us, we'll see. Um,
Joe's
yeah.
gonna
So
realize it was a great idea all along
oh
and
yeah,
take all the
100%.
credit.
100%. Just a little thing about Till the Whistle. It won't be just a podcast. I think we'll be doing other things, including streaming games. Me and Harry both quite sports heavy gamers. So along with Fortnite that you play, which is just disgusting. I don't want to out you like that, but that is just
There's just
disgusting.
no need, is there? What, we're 2 minutes in? There's just honestly, oh go, you can do this on your own.
I don't think I could. But yeah. Till the Whistle will be multifaceted. We're gonna keep trying to persuade the other guys in state of play that this is a good idea and we should be leaders. Um,
Mhm.
but other than that, I think we'll jump right into. I don't want to sound like Keemstar, but we'll jump right into the sports news, shall we? Um, the first thing I want to speak about, Harry, and I'd love to get your views on this as well. And it's not obviously it's not a news podcast per se, but we do want to speak
Mhm.
sports. And the one big sports story coming out today, at time of recording, which is the 3rd of January, is Salah is done at Liverpool apparently.
I, I mean, I've seen the interview. I've listened to what he said about it, and every time Mo Salah speaks about his contract, it gets absolutely chewed up. But I still think he's just playing ball. I think the more that he comes out and says that the situation's not changed, they're still miles off from me. I think Mo wants to stay at Liverpool. I think, and I think Liverpool can't be going into a season in next year where they probably won the title, but you've got Trent, Salah, and Van Dijk all leaving the club. And I think
Yeah,
Salah will be the one that they'll do anything to keep.
yeah. Trent is an interesting one to go down as well. Joining Real Madrid, surely I think that would be a bit backstabber of him. I think, especially after all them years of being tortured by the Real Madrid curse in their Champions League finals, to then just to go now. Um, is, Trent, we know Real Madrid is a big option. What options
Mhm.
do you think Salah has in front of him? I mean, he's in his 30s now. He's not. I mean, he's still in his prime. Let's be honest. He is in really good form. But what kind of options do you think Salah has?
I think if you'd asked me that at the start of the season, I would have said the only other clubs that were linked to him, and that's Saudi. But if we're being honest, Salah's on track for a Ballon d'Or winning season at the moment. Last time I checked, I mean, 30 goal contributions in 18 games in just the Prem alone, and sitting top of the Champions League. I think any team in the world would be lucky to have Salah starting for them. But then you look at teams like he's not going to go to Real Madrid. He's obviously not going to go to another English team. Can he afford to go back to Italy? I mean, can Italian teams afford to have him?
Mm, Yeah, my problem with that is that, sure, he's in great form now, but you're going to need to go to a club who wants an instant impact. I think
Mhm.
a player in your, and I don't know exact age, I think he's 31, 32, something like that.
He's 32.
Yeah, there you go. It's like you're not going to be setting up yourself up for the future and spending that much money on a contract for a player like Salah is a bit, it's not exactly silly because of how good he is, obviously. Um, But where he goes, I think that team is going to need an instant impact in Europe, in the domestic competitions. Um, So yeah, it's a tricky one for him, I think, especially him, because I think he'll need to plan his future out right. But I also think you're probably onto something with, is he just playing ball? Does he want more money off Liverpool? I think that might be the case.
I think the big thing is if say he wants to stay in Europe and he doesn't take a Saudi contract or anything like that, I don't see another club that gives him the money Liverpool offer him. I don't see another club where he's as valuable to them as he is to a Liverpool. I mean, the way he fits into that Liverpool team, and I mean, he's adapted over the years as well. This is a different Salah to the Salah that we had with Mane and Firmino either side of him. He's, if I'm honest, a bit more inconsistent now. Before this season, where I know he's started like a house on fire and hasn't seemed to slow down, he has these dry patches where he disappears for 6, 7 games, and he always has. And I think Liverpool build around that. But if he goes into a team, he has to be built around it, and no team that can afford him, I think, can take that risk.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's kind of, your opinion on this. Where do you rate Salah in of all players ever in Premier League history? His consistency over the years. What do you think? Is he anywhere near that top 10? Is he in that top 10?
Top 10, I'd say so, yeah. Uh, well, you look at the top five, and I don't think there's a single current player that scratches it. You can make an argument for Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm starting to think he's stuck around for too long when he had the chance to go to Saudi. You look at Mo Salah, you look at Harry Kane, who I feel like left too early to be in that top five conversation. But I think we're at a point now where the quality in the Premier League is immense, and Salah is at the top of that and has been for God knows how long. But the players that I think are top five and the ones that come to the top of my head are Thierry Henry and Wayne Rooney, who obviously we'll talk on in a little bit.
Yeah.
But they were always at one point the best player in the world, the best player in their position. And there's always been that argument with Salah. Same way there was always that argument with Aguero. And I
Yeah.
think to be considered one of the best to ever play in the league, you can't have that argument.
No, I do think, yeah, maybe not top. He'd definitely be in top 10 just because of his consistency over the years. I
Mhm.
mean, you do look at his kind of the start of the season where he sets the house on fire and then kind of fades out towards the end of the season. But this year it looks like he wants to go all the way. And if he does do that and he sets records this year that he already has done, I think if he can get a Ballon d'Or, which obviously is huge, and honestly he's set for it at the moment. I think he'd probably be
Yeah.
my front runner at this second in time. Um, and if he gets that, his valuations in the Premier League all time kind of records, it shoots up, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but I think we'll move on to talk about who someone we kind of talked about a little bit is Trent. How pivotal do you think he is to that Liverpool team?
This is what's going to get hate thrown at me, but I think out of the three with the contract expiring, he's the one you can let go. Because I think you look at Van Dijk, you look at Trent, you look at Salah. Trent was out for most of last season, right? And I know last season they didn't have as good of a season as they did now, and it was a kind of a changeover season from Klopp, who announced he was leaving early on. But they have his replacement. Connor Bradley has proved that he can fight at that top level. And Trent, the thing that Liverpool should be upset about is that Trent's going for free, not that Trent's leaving, because the club and FSG should have signed him to that contract years back. That meant that Real Madrid could have put that 180 million pound in bid, that could have put a bid for him in January, like we know they did, and we know they're planning another one. But I think Trent is replaceable. I do think he's the best right back in world football. I do, but he was never going to stick around at Liverpool the entire time when there was always Real Madrid calling, when there was always the videos of Jude Bellingham in his ear.
Yeah. I do think as well, you do say replaceable, and I sort of agree, but the world football right backs, I feel like the pool is just quite shallow. Um, and that's not to say there aren't some great fullbacks in the world. Obviously there are. Um, but who do Liverpool get in to replace him other than Conor Bradley? And what if Conor Bradley's not up to the task when he kind of gets that big starting role? It's There's a lot of speculation going around Trent at the moment, but as you see, he's replaceable. If you were Liverpool right now, do you sell him now and get money for him, or do you play out the rest of the season with him, win the title probably, and let him go for free in the summer?
That's I wish I could have a straighter answer, but
Yeah,
realistically, if they sell Trent, they risk throwing everything away if they can't get a replacement because they're at a point now where everyone seems to be doing just enough to get by in that Liverpool team. There are weak positions. I still think left back's a big struggle for them, but they're doing just enough to get by in every game. And I mean, what was it, 5 against West Ham a couple of days back just before New Year's? And you don't want to risk upsetting that culture, but what upsets the culture more? If he signs a contract now for 7 months' time, or if he's gone now and you've got a big gap to fill in your squad in January.
yeah. It's a lot of money though this January that you'd be getting
Hmm.
for him, if Real Madrid are that committed to it. Um, it is a tough situation, especially. I mean, it's not just Trent either, is it? I mean, we've talked about Salah. Van Dijk's got contract issues maybe going on. Um, that Liverpool team could be completely broken apart next season, you know,
Hmm.
and then three horsemen really of that kind of squad could completely go, and then what you're left with is a team who have lost the shell, who, just coming back off the title, which again, probably they'll win. We can't obviously say for sure because we don't know what's going to happen in the second half of the season. But
Don't know what Chris Wood's going to turn up for the second half.
no, mate, I mean, he might turn it on properly. I mean, we all know he's only been playing at half his ability. He could turn it
We've
on.
we've seen Europa League Chris Wood. He's got nothing on this.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we'll see what that kind of Liverpool team ends up as. But I think looking into the future, I don't think there's any point in doing that right now. I think they need to just get what they're doing, win the league this year, and see what they do as fit in summer. On that note, talking of now, Liverpool have a big semi-final game coming up against Tottenham. The Tottenham team who haven't won a trophy since 2009, is it? I think it's 2009. They're in a semi-final of a I mean it's a big trophy. They win this
Hmm.
and their kind of trophy drought comes to an end. Um the Liverpool, I mean, they could do the treble this year, realistically, couldn't
I think they could do all four. I mean, they've looked really strong in every competition they've played, and they don't look like they're going to drop back or massively rest players. I think the most you've seen is a rotate of kind of your Darwin Núñez and your Cody Gakpo's in the Champions League fixtures, maybe a Curtis Jones here and there. But they look like they're going for every single trophy, and it's a breath of fresh air for a manager that's just come into the league to have that kind of confidence and not turn around and say, you know what, it's fine if I win the league or it's fine if I win the Champions League. He's shown up and he's got this team of winners with him that Klopp did help create, but he's turned around and been like, I want every single trophy this season. But does the EFL Cup mean more to him than it does Tottenham?
that was kind of the thing I was thinking of is, yeah, I think that Spurs really want this. And in all honesty, they need it. They need this trophy. It's almost a necessity for Spurs to win something this year. With Ange saying obviously he wins everything in second season. Obviously that's not the main crux of it. The main crux
Mhm.
of it is they don't look like they're going to finish in European spots. They, they're not having they're really not having a good season in the league. They they won't get Europe without this trophy. So it is a
I
need.
don't even think it's about Europe. I think Spurs finish 11th and win a title and win a trophy. It's a good season. It's we're talking 16 years now. 2008 was their last trophy.
Yeah.
It's what everyone knows them for. We make fun of people for being Spursy and things like that. It's an engravement of kind of negativity on your club constantly at all times of when are you going to win a trophy next? Oh, you've bottled it again. Oh, Jose got to a final and gets sacked 3 days before. It's Spursy.
Yeah.
But it's Ange Postecoglou's job is on the line this Wednesday, I think. I
Oh,
think the only way he keeps his job is if they win the EFL Cup. And I'm not saying it'll be a case of he's sacked as soon as it happens, but without a trophy, he doesn't make it into next season.
no, I do think you're right. I think Spurs, I mean, again, you look at their team, it's not amazing and it's not the standards we've seen it at before, but it is definitely not 11th placed. That team should not be in 11th. Are they 11th or further down? Where I don't know where they
Let me
are
just
currently.
double check it quickly. They're 11th, yeah.
11th. Well, there you go. Um, so yeah, look, Spurs. It's a huge game. Obviously it's two legs. Are they
Mhm.
home or away first? I do forget. It doesn't
Have a
really
quick
matter.
look.
You get both, don't you? But. You sometimes want to be away first so
Yep.
you can go back.
They are at home first, which I think is difficult for him because I think what you want to do is get Anfield out the way.
Yeah, I also think you go back to your early point where Arne Slot does this trophy mean more to him than it does to Spurs. Does it matter? Are Liverpool that much better than Spurs that it don't need to mean anything to
Yeah,
them?
I
They go
mean,
out and do a job, and they get some silverware maybe at the end of it, the next month or so. Um, Look, it's a difficult one to work our way around again. You know, all this speculation of who's leaving in Jan and things like that for Liverpool. It's just a bit, yeah. Um,
no, I get that completely. Well, you've touched on it a little bit there, and I mean, Spurs massively, massively underperforming. And January transfer window's open. Is there anyone off the top of your mind that you think this is the position you need to go for, this is the player you need to go for to try and steady this problem, which is Spurs look like they're not going to get European football again. And
For Spurs, I think it's the same story every season, is where their owner, I mean, we all know Levy and the problems we've had with him.
Mhm.
Maybe he's not throwing the money at the right places. But this time, I think Spurs' front four is fantastic. In fact, I'd probably stand there and say it's probably at its best when they are all on form. Solanke, Maddison, Son, and Kulusevski are possibly top six, top five front four in the league. I think what you need to focus on is that defense. I think you need to focus on the kind of holding midfielders that you've got in the squad. You need some depth in that squad as well, because man, the injuries are taking them out of running in anything that they're going for right now. But yeah, I think the front four right now, I think you can sit comfortable with it this January, reassess in summer if it's not working still. But at their best, them four are good footballers, and I think they can do a lot for Spurs.
I think bigger than that, I think you look at their last 6, 7 games, and I think they've lost every single game because of the same person. And that's because you can't have a close to 40-year-old Fraser Forster starting in goal for you when you're
Yeah.
trying to, at the very least, get Conference League football. And even that would be a massive downgrade for Tottenham. So I
Mhm.
think I know you've got Vicario coming back, but I think throw some money at someone who'd be happy to be a number two. Drop into the Championship. Look at your James Traffords. Look at your Mesliers. Your people that will take kind of a bit of a pay rise and a jump up the table to sit on Spurs' bench essentially and fight for that number one spot. But you are right about the defence. I mean, Archie Gray starting their last game against Nottingham Forest and Jed Spence on the right. I don't think I've seen a team have that much defensive injuries this season.
No. No, it is a tough one for them, and you have to kind of feel sorry for the Spurs fans that are kind of going and seeing all these players just get injured every week.
Hmm.
Um, got a lot of injury prone people in that team. Um, but yeah, as you say, Vicario's coming back. But if we're not, I mean, a little question is that if they don't make European football, which obviously it looks likely right now, Vicario is a world-class goalkeeper. Does he stay with a team that aren't in Europe?
No, and there's always going to be teams looking for a goalkeeper, whether it's a Bayern Munich who have got an aging Manuel Neuer that when he's
Yeah,
fit will probably be starting, but they're rotating. PSG are rotating at the moment because Donnarumma's out injured.
yeah,
There's always going to be teams looking for world class keepers. I mean, Chelsea's a more appealing team than Tottenham right now. If they put in a
yes.
bid for Vicario, what's to stop him saying no?
Well, there you go. So, yeah, you don't really think about goalkeeper as the first kind of point of call, but I do think you might be right. That kind of backup goalkeeper that will be starting for a little bit because you remember Vicario, it was broken ankle, I think, wasn't it, against Man City? That's not a quick recovery.
No,
You're
no,
going to
not
need
at
someone
all.
to fill that spot, and Fraser Forster obviously not quite up to the job right now. Um, we'll move on to the other EFL Cup semi-final just quickly, because I feel like we won't do the whole thing justice if we don't speak about the other one as well.
Hmm.
Um, Arsenal Newcastle. Now Newcastle have been to a Carabao Cup final in the last 3 years, is it? They played Man United a couple of years ago. Um,
Hmm.
can they get to another one?
Well, I mean, you look at all four teams in this. I think Liverpool are the ones that don't need the trophy. They don't need to win the FL Cup. But we spoke about Spurs, but Arsenal and Newcastle both need this as well. I think Arsenal on paper are the stronger team. I think they've just started getting that run together again, and Jesus always seems to score at Christmas, which is always quite lovely to see. But Arteta came out and said he won those three trophies, including what a community shield and or two community shields and
An FA Cup.
an FA
Yeah,
Cup. But he needs something else because it's been what 4 years now, 5 years
yeah, and they want to be
since he
considered.
replaced Emery.
Yeah, they want to be considered as a top team in England, and that
Yeah,
comes along with trophies, and they're not winning them. Um, they finished second in the league. I mean, almost every year now for the last, was it 3 years, 2 years? I can't quite
pretty much
remember.
since Liverpool was finishing second. Yeah.
Yeah, so no trophies in that time, and even when Liverpool finished in second, they were picking up some trophies along the way,
Oh,
keeping
I tell a
silverware
lie.
going.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the last person to finish second before them. I'm pretty sure.
Was he? Good God,
Pretty sure in
it's
2021, Ole
possible.
Gunnar Solskjaer finished second.
I don't know. I thought that was the 2019 season, but I might be wrong. Was Jose there then? See, testing
Jose
my past, my
Jose was
recent
there
past
before
knowledge.
COVID, but then
Yeah,
but just before COVID, Jose was at
yeah,
Tottenham.
no, you're right. But no, Liverpool finished second in 21-22. But since
Oh,
then,
okay.
it's been Arsenal. Um, but yeah, anyway, Arsenal do need this. They need this or the FA Cup or the Premier League. They need a trophy this season. Otherwise, you kind of look at Arteta and you go, is he is he as great of a manager as people are saying? And that's a big question. That's a big question, and Arsenal fans are not going to like that question. Um, but it's valid, no?
No, no, definitely. And I think especially the EFL Cup final will be in kind of February time, and by the time the EFL Cup final's over, you've still not got Saka back, and you've got to assume that I know they've been coping fine without him on a what's not been an easy run of fixtures. There's definitely been jeopardy in there, but Arsenal need to essentially understand that then they're going to drop points because they don't have Saka. Because who have they been playing on the right recently? We just have a look at their fixtures quickly.
Trossard, is it?
I believe it's been Trossard on the right, but
Yeah.
oh no, last game it was Ethan Nwaneri on the right,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and that was a 3-1 win against Brentford. But you've realistically your options there are Trossard, Nwaneri, who's 17, 18, and a Raheem Sterling who's not been seen for weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. The injury to Saka put him in a difficult spot, but you have to say that Arsenal team it is good enough to win trophies. And even in the past seasons, it hasn't been winning trophies. So
Mhm.
again, you don't want to question Arteta too much for what he's done for the club, but trophies have got to be a main point of a successful team. Um, and they're just not there to see, And I'm not counting community shields because that's no, I'm
No,
not counting community shields. Absolutely not. Um, and obviously there might be people debating about whether community shields should count, and I mean, it is some. I mean, it's an actual piece of silverware, but
but it's
so
more
was
than
the
Tottenham
Audi
have, yeah,
Cup that Tottenham won. So it's like, yeah, it's just it's a friendly game to me.
yeah.
So it won't count as a trophy. One FA Cup in that time, it's not good enough for a team of that quality. It's not good enough at all. And I think he needs to see that, and I think he needs to start getting his head down and winning trophies. But same as Arsenal, it's Newcastle as well. They want to start winning
Hmm.
trophies now. They're a good team. And Arsenal will definitely have a lot on their plate for that game.
Well, I mean, talking about Newcastle, they've put so much money into the club now and into the infrastructure that they need to see a return on that.
Yeah,
And
big
they're
time.
not in Europe. They're not in Europe again this season. They
Yeah,
they had their chance in the Champions League and completely dropped out of that. They
yeah.
need to be proving that if they're going to put this money into the club, I know they've not spent it straight away throwing cash at the wall like we thought they would. They've been decent around FFP, but Newcastle have spent big money and they've brought in big names and they've got big names that are talking a big game. You've got Bruno Guimaraes, who's in the conversation for the best in his the best in his position in the league. You got
Yeah,
Isak, whose numbers, whilst inconsistent, the second he gets firing, he looks incredible and he does
he
wonders for
is.
my
Yeah,
fantasy football team.
yeah. Now, before we move on quickly, we're gonna run through some key matches from the weekend. First of all,
Mhm.
we're gonna start with the that big derby up the northwest of the country, Liverpool and Man United. What do you think, Harry?
It's so easy to turn around and say how many did Liverpool want. I think
Yeah,
United will lose this weekend, and people will be angry. People will slag off whichever players to blame this week, whether it's Maguire and his new contract or Diallo misses a shot or something like that. United will find someone to pinpoint on, but they've got a good run coming up after that. I think United will lose to Liverpool and they'll get some big key wins in the next couple of weeks. They've got Southampton and Brighton coming up after this, and then Fulham and Palace. They'll get those big wins, and all this talk about relegation battles will be long, long forgone. But that's not going to start this weekend. I do
No.
think, I do think Amarin will do well there, but it's just he came in at a bad time, and things are going to get worse at Man United before they get better.
Yeah. Have you got an exact score prediction you want to give?
I'll go talking about Salah. So I'll say he gets a goal and assist. Get Van Dijk on the score sheet too. 3-1. Amad Diallo gets one that means nothing after his contract renewal.
Well, I'm gonna say, um, oh, it is so easy to just say really high numbers for Liverpool,
Hmm.
but football don't work that way all the time. And I think Man United are gonna sit in, they're gonna dig deep. I'm not gonna say they're gonna get a point or anything,
No,
but
no.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Liverpool. I think Liverpool will score one in the second half. I think first half 0-0. Liverpool will score one in the
Mhm.
second half, and then yeah, I think the game kind of opens up a little bit towards the end. Then they'll probably snatch another one at the end as well. Uh, but yeah,
Just before we
I
move
think
off Man United quickly, Marcus Rashford, where is he February 1st?
Feb probably on his sofa
He
still
said he's
moaning.
done.
I don't know. It's hard to
He'll be on
say.
the streets of Manchester feeding the children.
I don't know who want. I don't know who'd want him. Over the years, I've said all the time, his attitude stinks, and it
Hmm.
has done for years. And now more than ever, it is noticeable that his
Yeah.
attitude stinks. You drop him for one game because he wasn't doing well in training, and he says, "I'm done. That's it. I'm done." That's no way to kind
Well,
of
look what
be a
Garnacho
player.
did. He came back in, he found his spot in the squad again, and he got some minutes under his belt.
Yeah, it's about working hard, and especially for a manager who wants you to work hard, he's not going to take
Hmm.
any um any slack off anyone. So yeah, it is interesting to see um where he'll be Feb first. We'll follow that story with a watchful eye, but I don't know. In my personal opinion, I don't think anyone wants him. I don't think he'll go to anywhere that do want him, like the lower teams in
Hmm.
kind of France and Spain and stuff like that. Don't think he'll want to go anywhere like that. I think February 1st, Marcus Rashford is still a Man United player, and I think he'll be on the bench for some of them games in Feb.
I just think how long can they drag it out? Because I agree with you. I don't know who'd be interested in him. You look at the biggest team you'd probably get is somewhere like Dortmund, and the way the players they've got out wide right now, I don't think they need him. It's not the kind of attitude they take in either. Maybe PSG. I think they're missing that big name up front, but
Yeah,
Barcelona can't afford to sign them. They can't afford to sign their own players that they've had for 6 months.
no, exactly. So there
But
you go.
I think you
Um,
are right. I don't think anyone gets him anytime soon.
well, we've been speaking about the Premier League for almost half an hour now. So I think we should move on to, the best league in the world.
It really is. It is the best league in the world when you're not in it, though. And I mean, we had what 12 years of it
Yeah, me and
of
Harry
just
are Birmingham
apps.
City fans. So we've had our struggles in the Championship over and over and over and over and over and over. How many times I
Hmm.
say over? Because I should be saying it, well, 12 times.
You should be saying it 12, 13 times, yeah.
Yeah,
But God bless Wayne Rooney for taking us out of it.
yes. And he might have just sealed another club's fate, taking pretty much them out of it as well. Before getting sacked, Wayne Rooney obviously just been sacked from Plymouth Argyle. Was it this weekend? I can't remember who it
It
was.
was New Year's Day.
Well, there you go, New Year's Day. A lovely celebration for him and his
Hmm.
family. Getting all that, the money for getting sacked like he did from us. Um, he did
I'm
it
sure.
at
I'm sure.
Blues.
I'm sure he left nobly and didn't take any money from the club at all.
I'm,
He
I
definitely didn't rinse us for a 2 and 3.5 year contract.
no, I'm, it's really hard to feel sorry for him right now. We
Hmm.
saw it at Blues. We saw it again. I mean, we saw a bit of it at Derby as well. He did all right with Derby considering the situation they were in, but you know, we saw it at Blues. We've seen it at Plymouth. Um, I think it's been a long time coming. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. I don't think it could be a surprise to Wayne Rooney either, really. I
No,
mean, the two-game streak they went on, lost 6-1. I think they lost 4-1 the game after as well. They probably should have got rid of him then. Um, but yeah, really hard to feel sorry for him. What do you think?
I think he never should have taken the Plymouth job in the first place. I think we knew when he left Blues, and I think we knew at times at Derby. At Derby, he got away with a lot. He got away with a lot because it was a sinking ship. And sure, we all said it to ourselves. I remember saying it to you that if he didn't have the points deduction, he would have stayed up with Derby.
Hmm.
But it's because he had that freedom to play with her. And the way Rooney likes to play is what Gary Cook, our CEO, once called no fear football, right? Which works when there's no consequences. If he took a team at the bottom of the league and took them to play no fear football, God knows what they'd do, right? Because he comes in and wants to play this mentality that doesn't work. It's passion over tactics. It's just this idea that you constantly go for it without really knowing what that means. I don't think he ever had a style of play at Plymouth. I don't think he ever had a style of play when he was with us for
No.
the 9 games or whatever that we had him in the end, or I don't remember how long it was.
Yeah. Um, Reports from the Athletic coming out that saying he couldn't quite control his frustration at the players. That's another thing we saw at Blues. You know, it all kind of copies over, and that same form also copies over. Um, I think Plymouth, I mean, obviously they made a huge error. And, before he was hired, I think we both said before as well, before the season, I think we probably both would have put Plymouth down anyway.
Yeah,
However, I would have given him a fighting chance, you know, to like they did last year, where they just stayed up on the final day. You give yourself a fighting chance, but with Rooney, they weren't giving themselves a fighting chance. Now they've got half a season of wasted football to be bottom of the championship. Um, and now you've got how much to make up in the second half of the season, which I just don't see them doing.
especially with the name that looks like it's taking the job. I mean, Sky Bet have got 1 to 3 favourites for Stephen Schumacher to take over. That's not a name that fills me with confidence. That's not a name that
No.
makes me turn around and go, "Oh, this is a name that will at least steady up the ship and push him at the tail a little bit," because he was terrible at Stoke,
Yeah.
especially in the last couple of months. He was uninspired, and I don't see a world in which if Plymouth finished 23rd, it's a good season for them.
Yeah.
And I think they've done it to
Speak.
themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of Stoke, new manager in, the old Coventry boss. Um, what do you think about that appointment? Do you think it could really change their season around, or are they just not at it?
It's a weird one. I think I managed to catch the Stoke game on Boxing Day against Leeds, and I know Leeds are a different level right now, especially at this point in the season before the wheels start to fall off. But Stoke didn't look up to it at all. It looked like men against boys, and I was surprised that it was only 2-0 in the end. But
Yeah.
Mark Robbins is an incredible manager. I was very surprised when Coventry let him go.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't think Lampard's done a terrible, terrible job since he's gone in, but I can't imagine him ever doing anything better than what Mark Robbins could have done, and that was a playoff semi-final, losing to
Playoff
Luton, the team
final.
that got promoted. Playoff final, yeah,
Yeah.
losing to Luton, who were the team that got that nearly stayed up last season.
Yes. Um, and we won't talk about them. Obviously, they're at the bottom of the championship now as well, struggling.
Mhm.
They probably won't go down, but we got strugglers. Moving to the top of the table now in the championship. You just mentioned Leeds. Um, there's three, maybe four, depending on how Sunderland do in the second half of the season. They seem to be dropping some silly points there, here and there, though. So three real runners for the top of the league. Um, I'll make you turn into a bit of a Mr. Meg here. What do you think? Who at the end of the season is going to go at them top two spots? Who's going to be forced into that kind of lottery of the playoffs?
I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like it'll be Leeds. It looks like Leeds will win the league, but like we said earlier, 12, 13 years being a team of a championship team, you just don't know
Mhm.
how long it's going to last.
Yeah,
And with Burnley and Scott Parker, I think it's a different brand of football to what they were playing under Company and miles off what it was under Sean Dyche. And I don't think it's worked as well as the two of them. I think Burnley would have come into this season spending more money than us, spending more money than any other team in the AFL, expecting to be 5, 6 points clear, like they were under Vincent Company, have no real threat of a title challenge, but they don't look up to the races. And I think if
yeah,
Sunderland were able to turn some of them silly, silly defeats and then play times where they're dropping points here and everywhere, I think they'd massively be able to capitalise on that. Sheffield United, I don't know if they have the squad. I don't know if they have the squad to get a run going. They just are so inconsistent I mean, what their last three games, they've lost to Burnley, they've drawn to West Brom, they've lost to Sunderland, and before then they were dropping silly points here, there, and everywhere. I
Yeah.
think Mr. Cat on, I'm saying Leeds wins the league, Burnley finishes second.
I think I'd go for that as well. I think as much of Brentford, sorry, Burnley have been dropping some silly points as well as them kind of at the top. They're the only kind of team to, well, only real team to stop Leeds from scoring. I think they stopped Leeds from scoring. I think they beat Leeds as well, didn't they? They've beaten Sheffield
Yes.
United. They've gone to Bramall Lane and beaten Sheffield United, which is a rare thing this season to do. They're a team that can they can muscle out the big boys in the Championship. And I think definitely they're definitely my number one for. I think Leeds are runaways this year. I don't think anyone's going to catch them, but mostly because people on the bench in that Leeds team could probably make it into a Premier League team,
Hmm.
already. Not a good Premier League team, but definitely a Premier League team, and that's what counts is that kind of depth. When you go through the season, more players going to drop out injured, and need to have that backup. And I think Leeds have it. So I think Leeds will be runaway. I think Burnley will be second. I think Sheffield United will probably be close third. And I think them three will just kind of drift away. I don't think Sunderland are going to book up their ideas anytime soon enough to keep up with them top three.
Well, I think Sunderland need to win the playoff then, because if they
Yeah,
don't, that squad will get ripped apart. And I know the one that everyone talks about is Joe Bellingham, but they've got such a young squad. You've got people like Daniel Ballard, you've got the young keeper as well that they've got there. It's such a young core of, and I know it adds money onto how much they work. There's a lot of young English talent,
yeah,
and Premier League teams will be seeing that, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll have you. I'll take you off here." We saw bits of it this season with people like Jack Clark getting the Ipswich move.
yeah,
If Sunderland don't go up this season, their squad will get ripped into pieces.
yeah, 100%. Um, so we'll move on to FA Cup talk. Now, another big trophy. We've talking about the EFL Cup. We've done the Championship now, we've done the Premier League. FA Cup's the last big trophy to talk about. I wanted to speak about a bit of a controversy. And obviously it's not really linked to the stuff we've been talking about, but it's just something you like to bring up. Everton and Peterborough. Um, their game set for a Thursday night. Peterborough, I don't think they've ever been to Goodison Park before. Wanted
No.
fans to go. Now it's difficult. Um, what what are the FA thinking realistically? This game surely about the fans, right?
Well, I mean, you said it there. They've never actually been to Goodison Park. It's the second time these teams have ever played. First time was at home in Peterborough in 2006, and I'm not reading that off my side screen at all. But I I get why it's had to be moved because of the Liverpool game on the Saturday, right? Because Liverpool are at home on the Saturday, but how difficult would it have been to push it to a Friday, to push it to a Sunday, right? It's a
Hmm.
strange and it's a stupid decision, and it's no. I've already seen there's no trains back for fans after the game,
Yeah,
so you're going to be very limited in numbers that can get up there. Being a Thursday night in Liverpool, Everton fans aren't going to bring many, and it takes away the magic of the FA Cup, which is a chance for even if a team only wins a game here and there and they only have a slow run going, it's big money when you get drawn against a Premier League team, especially
100%.
away at a Premier League ground. Fans fill it out, and it can be season savers for clubs at times. And I just worry that we're seeing that dying because of stupid decisions that don't benefit anyone.
Yeah, talking about Premier League ground, and obviously, yeah, had our piece on the FA putting that match there, um, and people are not going to be able to take all them fans to that Premier League ground. But speaking of that Premier League ground, it's not going to be their Premier League ground next year.
Yeah, it was
It's
the
obviously
last
the
time
Premier
a
League.
lot of
I'd
people
imagine
get
they
to
are.
go there.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes a decision every from every angle you look at it, it makes a decision worse and worse and worse and worse. There are no positives to this decision. I think, as you said, you can move it to a Sunday. You can move it to that Friday night even. Friday nights they're good. People can go. They're off work on the Saturday, but most people, obviously, not all,
Mhm.
can't speak for all people. Um, but yeah, I think it's a travesty of a decision, honestly. Um, I think the FA, you'll always hear these like big organisations saying, "Yeah, football's for the fans," and "Yeah, we love the fans," and this kind of stuff. But it's not. At the end of the day, it's not. That's all talk. And I don't want to go into too much of a rant about the FA here, but it's just it's not on. And yeah, Peterborough, they sent out a plea saying they need to change it. Um, and they haven't. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's a disgraceful decision, but it kind of sets us up for our new point in that new Premier League ground, Everton. It's done now. Apparently, they're ready.
It's done now, according to Everton. They've started their ballots for the kind of test games, and the first one there, I believe, is their under-18s team are playing a friendly there, which made me realise I had no clue who Everton's under-18s manager was. Why would I? Any
Mhm.
clues?
Any clues?
Any idea as to who Everton's under-18s manager is?
Have you got any clues for me?
Uh, couldn't get anyone more Everton.
Fullback.
Have I given it away?
Is it Leighton
To be fair,
Baines?
it is
The
Leighton
big boy.
Baines.
What a
He's one that
guy.
I always thought would end up having as like a successful manager career. And he's one that I think is still probably good, to be fair. He's only young. I think he's what, late 30s?
Yeah, yeah. You
Although
never
I'm pretty
know.
sure he played for Everton until he was 55.
It seemed it. Yeah, he was there forever. It was I mean, it was a good run though. Loved watching Leighton
Hmm.
Baines play back in the day. Proper Premier League fullback. When you talk about Barclays, man, Leighton Baines is up there, right up there. Um,
It's one of my favourite stories. It's when David Moyes went to Man United. He sat down Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic and showed them videos of Leighton Baines highlights to tell them how to defend properly.
I mean, you teach good players with the goats.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And Leighton Baines was right up there. So we've almost come. Well, we've come back round to the Premier League. We've done almost a full circle from the start. Um, so we should do some predictions, really, shouldn't we? Some quick fire predictions. So I'm just gonna give you something. You're just gonna give me a quick fire answer. I don't want you thinking about it too much. You ready?
I try my best not to think too much about it anyway.
Good. Winner.
Liverpool.
Uh, surprise package.
Bournemouth, I think they'll fight for top four in the end.
Top scorer.
It's Mo Salah, isn't it? My outlandish shout is that Mbeumo gets second though.
Hmm. Um, can't read my own writing. Jesus. Biggest disappointment.
It's got Spurs. I think Spurs will finish below Man United.
Same question, but for a player.
Nicholas Füllkrug. I think he came in off a really big season at Dortmund, and everyone thought he'd do wonders at West Ham. He's someone with no real sell-on value, so they spent, I think, 30 million on him, and I think he is 30. So they're not going to make their money back for him at all, and I think he's had a shocking start to the season, as most of West Ham have.
Manager of the season.
It's got to Schlott or Nuno, but it's going to be Schlott, isn't it? First season in the league.
Hmm. And then signing of the season. Oh no, I've got some more anyway, so I don't say and.
This is a difficult one. It's difficult to look past someone like I hate to say it, Onana at Villa. I think has been incredible in all competitions, but I think they're having a bit of a damp squib of a Premier League season. Uh, Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest. I think he's come in. It was a bit like Morgan Gibbs White in a way of people said that they were just throwing money at the wall for a young English talent, and he's proved to be on incredible form for him, really.
Player of the season, just overall.
It's it's whoever wins the league for me. I think if Liverpool win the league, it's Mo Salah, and I think on the off chance Chelsea still win it, it's Cole Palmer. But those are the best two players in the league.
And then who are the three they're going to get relegated?
This is the. I don't want to just be boring and say it's 3 up, 3 down, and I try not to every year. That's why I've had Brentford going down the past 3 years in my predictions, which never seems to work out. I'll
No.
have Southampton finish bottom, then Leicester, then Wolves. I'll have Wolves go down.
Okay. Well, that kind of leaves us at the Premier League, but there's another Premier League in another sport that we're going to
You're
move
really
on
proud of
to.
this setup,
I'm
aren't you?
I I I'm so proud. That was unbelievable. Think about that. Think about that for a
It
second.
was
That was
beautiful.
unbelievable stuff.
I'll just let it sink in for a second, right?
Where is he? Is he at the door?
Thank you. That was beautiful. I can't believe I've agreed to do this.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was terrible. Right. Premier League darts. Oh, lovely. Right, before we get onto the Premier League darts, I only wanted it for the kind of connection to the Premier League.
Just for the
Um,
segue.
Yeah, we need to think. We need to speak about the at time of recording. I've said before, 3rd of January, 2025. Happy New Year, everyone. Um, it's the final of the World Darts Championship. So I don't know how much you know about darts, Harry. Um,
I've been watching it.
it's very exciting this year. Very exciting.
There's a lot of people called Luke.
Lot, yeah. Well, two.
No,
I
I
mean,
know. There's
you
three.
go on.
I don't know his name. You put no,
Luke
you wouldn't
Woodhouse.
put me on the
Is it
spot.
Woodhouse Luke? I can't remember his name. Um,
Uh,
no, you're probably right.
it'll
Anyway.
it'll come to me.
That is, yeah, a lot of Lukes, we'll just say that. But one of the Lukes,
Hmm.
17-year-old Luke Littler, makes his second final in as many years. Um, I mean, without even knowing much about darts, what he's done for the sport is just
Oh,
incredible.
definitely.
I mean, he made me want to pick up a set of darts again, and I'm 2 years older than the lad. So
And I've seen you throw a set of darts.
I'm awful at darts. I'm really bad at darts. So I should just put them down and stop, but it's the inspiration. Um, but can he go all the way this year? Can he do it?
Everything that I've seen of this kind of last couple of weeks says yes. I mean, you look at the numbers as well. He's averaging over 100 on 102. Again, definitely not got any stats in front of me. This I know all of this off the top of my head. But it's a
But
beautiful setup against Van Gogh, isn't it? They've played 12 times in the last year, and they're six apiece. I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be Littler's first world title if he manages to do it, and if Van Gogh gets a fourth, I think
fourth,
will
yeah,
probably be his
that's big.
last.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. He shocks everyone every once in a while, and he'll play really badly
Hmm.
at some point, and then he'll just go, "Oh no, I'm Michael Van Gerwen, and I can
Yeah,
win a World Darts Championship." I think at the start of the year, I don't think anyone. I mean, his name obviously is always in the conversation because he's Michael
yeah.
Van Gerwen, but he definitely would have been my first name on the list. I think Humphreys probably would have been my first name on the list, and he's gone. So you
I
know,
mean, went really early as well for him, didn't he? 'Cause, ran a 16.
yeah. I mean, Peter Wright just suddenly
Hmm.
burst out and started saying, "Oh, I'm going to play well again. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
to do, and I'm going to beat Luke Humphreys." Um, and he did. Fair play to him. But yeah, Luke Littler v MVG in the final. I think it's a great final. I think it's an unbelievable final. And in all honesty, as much as you kind of want Littler to win for the story, Michael Van Gerwen getting his fourth darts championship, I do love
Oh
Michael Van
yeah.
Gerwen as well. So it's a win for the fans, really, who watch darts and love the darts. Yeah, it's a
I mean,
big win for
I'm
the
not going to
fans.
be the first person to complain when Littler if Littler does win. I mean, he's British and he's younger than me, but he's somehow. I think I'm one of the very few people that I can say he's younger than me, and he actually looks younger than me
Hmm. Yeah, well,
because he's 16 going on 25, and I'm 19 going on 30.
yeah.
But I mean, he's going to win three or four of these at least at his
But you'd think
age.
so. You remember, you got he's not even an adult yet. If he wins tonight, he cannot drink legally to
Yep.
celebrate his win. So, you know what? He has to just take this experience as it comes to him. And
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try and give Luke Littler advice because I'm crap at darts and he's unbelievable at darts and I've never been to a World Darts Championship final. But you kind of think at 17 years of age,
What do you
no,
mean? You were saying before we started recording that you taught him everything he knew,
no,
and that you were
look,
twice the darts player Luke Littler was. I swear that's what you said.
yeah, well, I did, but I don't want to brag on camera. Come on, geez.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Um,
we stay humble until the third episode.
yeah, third episode is where I just start like spouting all my achievement in darts and football. And don't forget football. I've been there, done that.
By episode five, we get Luke Littler and Alfie on Misfits.
I'm not gonna fight him. Look at him. He beat the he beat the living daylights out of me. Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
again, not one to give him advice, but he's 17. He's made two World Dart Champ. This can only be a positive. Even if he doesn't win this year, this can only be a positive for his career. And yeah, as you say, if I had to give a guess, because darts players play until they're their 50s in their 60s.
oh yeah,
He could win. I mean, he's not going to match Phil Taylor. Let's be honest. I don't think he is. That's 17 World Championships. I think it is for Phil Taylor, and I'd have to be fact checked on that. Um,
on it.
Actually, it might be 40. Hmm. Because the BDO and the PDC and that kind of merged together, kind
He's
of
got 16. Yeah,
16 World Dart Championships. That's a lot. Luke Littler probably won't match that, but I think he can make 10. Honestly, but I
Oh,
think he can make
definitely.
10. I think he can make 10. And that'd be a great achievement, especially in this day and age of darts where loads of good players are in it. So yeah. Are there any other? Oh yeah, of course, Premier League darts. That was the original connection,
Hmm.
wasn't it? The connection that I'm so proud of. I'm even prouder of that connection than I am of my semi final in the World Darts Championship. In what year was it? What year was it? Oh, forget the year. I forget the year. What am I like?
There's
What am
been
I
so
like?
many of them, honestly. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, I've never made the final quite. That's why I can't give advice to Little right now. He's just one step better.
no, but that was the
Um,
year that you got disqualified for doping.
hey, watch it. No doping from
Sorry,
me.
sorry. Nothing was ever proven.
Nothing was ever proven. Right. Anyway, Premier League darts, the shouts. We know who's going to be in. Pretty much the kind of the
Yeah.
the concrete answers. Littler, MVG, Luke Humphries is going to be there. Obviously, I mean he was number one in the world. Um,
Hmm.
Nathan Aspinall probably a shout now. He's made
I think Nathan Aspinall definitely. Yeah, I know he.
Stephen Bunting is a dead
Yeah.
cert, almost definitely. Chris Dobie probably after making a semi-final probably has to be there. Um, And then that kind of last spot, it's eight, right, in the Premier League darts, yeah, because they do the
Yes.
eight, yeah. The last spot is a tough one to fill. Michael Smith went out second round this year.
Hmm.
Um, Peter Wright, yeah, sure, he was in form this World Dart Championship, but I mean, it was a dismal campaign for him last year in the Premier League darts. Do you
Yeah.
invite him back? He's a legend, so probably. Gerwyn Price, another name that has to be there.
I think
It's
gun to my head, I'm
hard,
saying Gerwyn Price. I know he's not had
yeah.
the most consistent of years, and
He can be though, can't he? So
yeah,
it's
that's the
hard.
thing.
It is hard to put a kind of a dead cert name in there for the eighth
Hmm.
option. Because I mean, Joe Cullen's good as well. He's been in good form recently. Yeah, sure, he went out to go in price, but he had a fight. Um, and there's no like embarrassment in losing to go in price. He's a good player. Uh, but yeah, I think I think most of the people that you have dead certs on right now, Littler, Humphreys, MVG, Bunting probably. Um, Then that last four, it's a mix up. I think Asp will make it, and I think Dobie will make it. But then them last two are kind of where'd you go with it? What do you think?
I think you've got it bang on there in terms of the six of them. I think Gerwyn Price will be up there. I think it all really depends on. I'll be honest with you. I've got no idea who that last spot goes to
Mm,
at all.
no.
And I because there's so many arguments you can make for so many different people. But on the topic of that, while we're talking about last spots, let's jump over the pond because it's the last weekend of the regular
Oh,
NFL season,
oh, that's
right?
not.
And this
You're
is
trying to rival my. Hey, watch it, you.
it's more just a case that I've stolen
Unreal,
your NFL talk as well.
unreal. Yeah. I mean,
And you may have eight people playing off in darts in the Premier League, but you've got five teams all looking
I'm in
to make the
shock, bro.
NFL playoffs,
I'm in
right?
shock.
With only two spots available. Alfie, walk us through it. What's happening in the NFL?
It's a big last week. Um, I think it's just so much up for grabs, and a lot of teams that yeah, sure you can make the playoffs, but they're not gonna make a deep run at it towards the Super Bowl. You're Dolphins, no?
I am, yeah. I mean, there's still a chance for us this last weekend, but
There is
it's
a chance.
I just don't see a world in which we make playoffs, and if we do, we're not exactly going to make much of a
No,
stir there. It's one of those seasons where we just tick along nicely, and
I think the Bengals probably beat you to the punch this year. AFC, there's a lot of spots confirmed for the AFC this year.
yeah,
A lot of good teams in the AFC as well. Notably Kansas, who are always up there. Buffalo, again, quite usually up there recently at least. Um, and then you got your Ravens, even Pittsburgh this year, been in good form. Um, but yeah, them last spots, it's Broncos are up for it as well. Broncos, Dolphins, and the Bengals are the three that I think are in the hunt for the AFC.
yeah.
Not too sure. Um,
And
and
then
then
for
the
the NFC,
NFC,
you've got no
I'd
go.
imagine the Rams are in. I'd imagine they've won the division, I believe.
Yeah,
Because
Rams are. There's only two teams left that can qualify, and that's the Falcons and that's Tampa.
okay, so it's an all-out battle for first
Yeah.
place in the NFC South. NFC South, yeah,
Yes.
NFC South. Um. Yeah, it's an odd one. But the biggest game, the one I'm really looking forward to, Sunday night football, technically Monday morning here. Vikings, Lions. They are both 13 and 1.
Hmm.
13? 14 and 1. Can you check me up on that? 15,
14 and
14?
2.
14 and 2. There you go. Um, big. I mean, whoever loses will be the first team ever to not have like either a first round bye or a a home game in the first round of the playoffs with 14 wins. One of them with 14 wins.
Jesus.
They are both in the same division, both NFC
Hmm.
North. So whoever wins that game will go with will win their number one seed in the NFC, and obviously they'll win their division. So then whoever loses that game will drop and slip down to the NFC fifth seed. So they will have to play an away game in the playoffs to get through to the next round, and very probably another away game after that, and then probably another away game after that. So massive implications in that game.
Well, you're talking about the big games to watch this weekend, and I think you won't get much bigger than the weekend that Lamar Jackson's going to look and have. Because, I mean, we're talking about the MVP and about the names that will be up there. I think it's his final so it's his final chance to win the AFC North for the Ravens. And I mean, he's going to be the only person really up for MVP that's going to be playing consistently this weekend, apart from Joe Burrow. So
Mhm.
it's going to be a proper opportunity for him to take center stage and kind of take that MVP award for what is it, the second year in a row now?
Third, I think. I think it'd be third.
I think it's
Um,
third overall. I didn't know if it was third in a row.
I think it's back to back. I mean, you'd have to check up on me on that one as
Never
well.
look.
But yeah, you're right. Consistently playing. Obviously, there's something up for grabs for the Ravens this week.
Hmm.
I can't remember who they're playing. It's not the Steelers, is it? They're playing.
I'll have a look quickly.
Are they playing the Browns or Cincinnati?
I believe they're playing the Browns. Let me just double check. Yeah, they are playing the
It's
Browns.
probably an easy game, but you have to remember the Browns beat them. In Cleveland. The Browns actually got one over the Ravens this year. They have beaten the Ravens this year, and the Ravens can't afford to slip up now. So Lamar will probably be in the team for that. My
Sorry,
MVP this
just
year,
to cut you off quickly. I've
yeah,
just
go
double
on.
checked. So Lamar won it in 2023,
Yeah.
but then before that he hadn't won it since 2019. The year before was Patrick
Okay.
Mahomes.
So it is. It would be back to back. It'd be his second year. Right. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Um, my MVP this year, as I was saying, is definitely Josh Allen. Um, and yeah, he probably won't play. Although you
Hmm.
never know with Buffalo, they like to just throw everything at everything. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I imagine he doesn't start. But yeah, I think he's my MVP this year. And you can look at the stats, and you can tell me the stats say differently. But you got to look at the supporting casts. Who are
Yeah.
they throwing to? And eye test. You got to watch these players. You can't just take everything off stats. That happens with every sport. Um, you got to look at what they're doing, how they're doing it, what they're doing at the right times, how they're throwing it, how they're running, how good they look realistically. And Josh Allen has looked unbelievable this season. And that reputation he gained as a gunslinger, where he just chucked the ball downfield, interception or not, he doesn't care. It's about getting the ball down the field. Yeah, he still does that, sure, but interceptions aren't a big deal this year. I think he's thrown nine this year. Not a huge amount compared to his other seasons. So yeah, for me, Josh Allen is my MVP, definitely.
And while we're on the subject, who's going all the way?
All the way. It's hard, it's difficult
I know.
because you get to the playoffs and you think, and the most undeserving team of a 15 and 1 record this year is Kansas City. I've watched them over and over again. And obviously I can't say the most undeserving because they got the record, been there, done that,
Yeah.
just got it, don't worry about it. Um, but they haven't been playing amazingly. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing amazingly, but once you get to the playoffs, Kansas City turns something on. They've got the first round bye. It is hard to say. I think this year, what we want to see as fans, I think what we all love to see is a Buffalo Detroit Super Bowl. Never
Yeah.
won it. Either of them have never won it. Um, I think who wins it this year? Out of them two, if I was saying as a fan, who would I want to win this year? Either. I wouldn't mind either of them. But I think I'd like to see Josh Allen win a Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
Buffalo. But if I had to go with my logical brain, I'm saying Kansas City three-peat. I'm
It
saying
makes the most
KC
sense. It's the
three-peat.
boring answer.
it is the boring answer, and I didn't want to go there straight away. Obviously, that's where I kind of gave my other answers for it. But yeah, I think that's probably where you find your champions this year. I think it's KC3, Pete.
All right. Well, after that, kind of the last thing we've got to talk about today is it's my subject. It's the fact that as of this writing, Friday the 3rd of January, we are 3 days removed from the debut of WWE Raw on Netflix. For the
Very
first
exciting.
time in its history, it's been taken off NBC.
Hmm.
And I mean, before I start going into the details of the show, I just wanted to talk to you quickly about is this a good thing for sports? You look at the NFL having the Christmas Day games on Netflix. You look at the Premier League Boxing Day fixtures on Amazon Prime. Is this kind of this slow move over to streaming service? Is this something that you see as a positive?
Um, I think it goes both ways. I think some are good. I do believe Netflix is good. I think it's easily accessible. I don't like the kind of for WWE. I think it's great. I think keeping it all in one place is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really accessible. People can get their Raw shows. I think SmackDown over here is coming over as well to Netflix.
So in everywhere but the US,
In
SmackDown will
the
be here.
SmackDown will be on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think having it all in one place is amazing. I think that should be the kind of the record for everything. I think a lot of sports are too spread out over a lot of different platforms, which makes it too expensive to watch all your favorite sports. Um, so that's not really a WWE point. That is just as a sports thing. I think everyone should strive to have everything in one place, whether it be different platforms, obviously. But yeah, I think it coming over to Netflix, I think it can only be a good thing. I watched the Christmas Day games on Netflix. The streaming quality was just as good as it would be on a normal TV. So yeah, I'm quite excited. How are you feeling about it? I mean, you're the proper wrestling fan here.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great opportunity. It forces WWE to kind of hold themselves accountable in a way they haven't done for a long time, where it's Netflix want something big.
Hmm.
Netflix want the biggest stars doing the biggest things, drawing the biggest audience. And I mean, WWE on an average pulls forward for Raw about 2 million a week. And Netflix, I think some of the numbers that have been like rumored around will be like quadruple that, looking close to 10 million a week, which are numbers WWE haven't had since like late 90s. And even then they were
Yeah,
pushing it with your Steve Austins and your Rocks. But in terms of WWE, I think it's an incredible thing. And I think it will force companies like AEW to turn around and be like, we have to perform at our best to even get close to competing with this.
yeah. It's very good for competition, and
Hmm.
I do love, and fans can reminisce now. I mean, obviously it was on WWE Network before, but a lot more people have Netflix and WWE Network. Obviously,
And the
that goes
network
without
was a
saying.
terrible streaming platform.
But there you go as well. I mean, I felt that it was just horrible to work. It
Hmm.
wasn't always responsive. But Netflix, you've got all your pay-per-views on there now from like
All
ever.
pay-per-views are on there or will be on there, and every pay-per-view going forward will be live on there as well.
Well, there you go. Look, people can now reminisce on
Hmm.
what they loved as maybe a kid or maybe even a teenager that maybe they've just fallen out of recently and go back to it. Netflix, keeping it in one place, I think it really brings a lot of people back into the sport. I think it brings a lot of people into it as well. I just think I'm very excited for it. We'll be watching it together, obviously.
Yep.
And
I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, it will be a great day. And a little teaser. I'll let you tease if you want to tease for the next week's
Yeah,
episode of
I'll go
this.
ahead. So on Monday, Raw the 6th,
Raw
we
the
will have
Sixth.
the biggest, on Monday, January 6th, we will
Go
have
on.
the biggest episode of Monday Night January to
Monday.
ever go out. No, so January 6th, Monday Night Raw will be the biggest episode of Raw ever.
Mhm.
That week, we will have an in-depth analysis of the entire 3 hour show. We'll run through all the matches that have happened, all the promos. I mean, it's a big, big week. You've got the return of Logan Paul. You've got the start of John Cena's retirement tour. I mean, main evented by CM Punk and Seth Rollins, who, if you are a wrestling fan, you didn't have a chance to watch that promo that they did on Monday,
Big
where
time.
they were name dropping Vince McMahon like it was no man's business, and it made everything feel very real just before moving to Netflix, especially with the rumor that it will be a 15 show or moving away from PG.
Yeah, big time.
But we'll
Um,
have a massive analysis coming through of the entire show, giving you our thoughts either a day after, a couple of days after, just to see exactly where WWE stands for 2025, and maybe we'll even start looking at where we'll start looking for the Royal Rumble for after that as well.
yeah. All that and more on a very special, I mean, I call it very special, there's only been one of these, but a very
Yeah.
special Till the Bell episode. Can't call it a whistle. No whistles in wrestling. What can I say? Actually, there's no whistles in darts either. We just spoke about that for 20 minutes, so who cares? But yeah, Till the Bell next week.
What would you call it about darts? Like till the
Till the checkout.
divorce?
Till the
Oh,
checkout.
okay. Okay,
Till the
not till the
divorce.
divorce.
Till the divorce. What are you going with? What, men playing darts instead of seeing their
Yeah,
wives?
exactly.
Brilliant. Right, yeah, well,
Till
if
the
we ever
last
do a dart
orders.
special, well, it will be called Till the Divorce. And I don't know what it would be called. But yeah, next week, we're not sure when it will be out. We've got to get times sorted and everything like that. But
Yeah.
we can confirm there will be an episode next week called Till the Bell. TTB. Um, but yeah,
The only
we're
way he's
quite
convinced me
excited.
to do this with him for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, that and money. Loads of money.
I'm being paid like my bank account. I'm charging by the minute. So every time I've been a
Luckily,
bit slow about getting a point across, or I've changed the subject, it's just watching my bank account go up and up.
yeah, lucky it's half a penny every minute. I'm not gonna have to pay,
It's
but
more than you earn.
well, yeah, I'm not going to earn anything. Anyway, um, well, thanks for listening. I think that brings us to the end now, right?
I think that's everything we had planned. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. Well, that was brilliant. A good first episode. Um, Thank you, Harry, for joining me on this episode. I'll see you next week for Till the Bell.
I'll see you next
I'm
week,
just
and I'll
going to
see you
keep
every
saying
week
it.
after that.
Hopefully, as long as the money doesn't dry up and I can have to stop paying you. But
Or
yeah,
Joe shouts at us and says we can't do it anymore.
yeah, we are worried about that. Um,
Yeah.
Little teaser. People listening, they might get to meet Arthur soon.
No, 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 no,
Soon, you
no,
might,
no, no.
and that
He's.
you might get to meet Arthur, and
It's like he's the guy.
you
He's
better
the
be
guy in the.
prepared.
No, no, no. He's the guy in the Black Mask in Squid Game. He's just. No one knows who he is, but like everyone knows.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Look, Arthur said he might be up to speak about wrestling at one point. He likes wrestling as well,
Just be
so we'll
nice to
see.
him, please. He's
Yeah.
traumatized.
I'm not speaking about it. Joe will shout at me again. I can't be shouting at Joe again. I can't do it. It's scary. He's a scary man.
He's a
Um,
terrifying man. Him and his
at any
butler.
point, you might meet Joe when we do an F1 episode at some point. But yeah, the State of Play crew.
What would we call an F1 one till the inevitable Verstappen win?
You've said this before. This has been
Yeah, but that
you
wasn't
said
on
this, Joe,
camera.
before. I know,
That
but
wasn't
I
on
mean,
camera, and you didn't
I've heard
laugh
it
then. And
before, and I'm not laughing again.
I
You
hoped
know what I mean?
maybe you play it up a little bit on the camera.
There's fireworks going outside. They're celebrating our first episode of Till the Whistle. Um, Thanks, guys.
Celebrating that it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us for this first episode of Till the Whistle. Um, Presented by State of Play.
Presented
Uh,
by State of Play.
Presented by not by State of
No,
Play.
no, no, not
Present.
State of Play. Yeah, no.
It has to be presented. Has to be there. Otherwise, Joe will shout at us,
Mhm.
and that's not what we want.
And we can't be
Make
part
sure
of it because we're not trusted.
you follow the Till the Whistle page on Instagram. I haven't made a TikTok yet. I'll get to it on what's the other one? Twitter, X. I don't
Twitter,
care.
X.
Whatever it's called. Don't care. Anyway, one of them. Just follow it. Just follow it. Follow the. I'm gonna shout out State of Play. Joe might not be happy that he's a little.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be
It's
attached to us, but like
no.
some of their
Um.
journalists are really good.
Yeah. That logo at the top of the TTW thing. Where is it? That one
Uh,
there.
there you go. There you go.
I
There
don't
you
know how
go.
cameras work. That one there.
You've just poked the Colosseum.
Follow. Yeah. Follow State of Play on Instagram, TikTok, X, Blue Sky. Don't work. Don't worry about it. Don't follow it on Blue Sky if you don't want to. No one has
What's a
it. Who
blue sky?
cares? Who
Exactly. That's what I
cares?
said.
Who cares? Joe's gonna shout at me for saying that as well. But who
Yeah.
cares? Follow everything. Follow everything, please. We need it. Read the stories we put on the website. They're good. They're really good. One's made it onto Birmingham Live. I wonder who wrote that.
Who did you
But
put
other
after
than
that one?
that, uh, but anyway, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with TTB. Till the Bell.
Mhm.
Harry, thank you for joining me. And
Thank you for having me. I will see you next week.
yeah, big time. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. This has been Till the Whistle. Bye.